discovered my best friend received a disturbing birthday gift that revealed my wife had been cheating on me for decades, and DNA tests showed my children weren't mine. How could I possibly handle this betrayal without completely destroying both our families? I had nowhere else to turn with a problem like this, so I thought writing it out here would be best. I've been questioning if I'm the villain in this story, or simply someone who reached their breaking point. Maybe you can help me see things more clearly. This is what happened. I'm 43 years old and grew up in a small town where everyone knew each other. My best friend Evan and I were inseparable from the moment we met in kindergarten. We did everything together: school projects, family trips, even our first jobs at the same movie theater. Evan wasn't just my best friend, he was like a brother to me. When I met Meg in college, Evan was as excited as I was. He was the one who encouraged me when I started dating her and helped me plan my marriage proposal. When I got married, he stood by my side as my best man. A couple of years later, Evan met Rachel, who was Meg's college roommate, and they also got married. Our friendship grew even stronger now that we had our two families, and everything seemed perfect because we shared everything. But as you'll soon learn, everything really meant everything. We did everything together: vacations, holidays, barbecues. Our children grew up together, playing and spending time like siblings. Evan and Rachel had 4 kids, while Meg and I had 2. But a few months ago, I was cleaning the basement when I found an old USB drive. It was full of videos from my childhood, videos of Evan and me building snow forts, celebrating graduations, and going camping. Watching them took me back to those simpler days, and I decided to make Evan a gift for his 44th birthday, a memory box celebrating our 38 years of friendship. I gathered old photos, tickets, and other little mementos. When I told Meg about the project, she didn't react as I expected. She wasn't as excited as I thought she would be, but I figured she had something else on her mind. She wouldn't tell me what it was, so I didn't press the issue, knowing she would eventually share it with me. But then one day, while looking for more mementos in our home office, I found something strange. There was a hidden folder in Meg's desk that seemed out of place, so I decided to open it. I wasn't snooping, but it caught my attention. What I found in that folder turned my life and everyone else's upside down. Inside were printed emails between Meg and Evan dating back 17 years. There were explicit photos and detailed plans for secret meetings. The more I read, the worse it got. Their affair had begun shortly after our wedding. But what devastated me most was a set of DNA test results. The results weren't just for Rachel's children. They were for my children, too. And it turned out that Evan wasn't only the biological father of Rachel's children, but also of mine. My best friend, my brother, and my wife had been lying to me for almost 2 decades. I was living a life of lies, and I was the fool who didn't know it. Well, probably Rachel didn't know either. At first, you don't know how to react to something like this. I don't think there's a protocol for that. But then came the anger. All those years I spent loving and raising our children together suddenly felt like a punishment you'd receive in hell. I didn't trust myself to stay calm. Honestly, the only thing I wanted was for them to understand even a fraction of what I was going through. Instead of confronting them directly, I put all my energy into finishing the memory box, except it had undergone some last-minute changes. I put in everything we had: old childhood photos, tickets from places we'd visited, little mementos that had meant so much over the years. But then, at the bottom, I added the things that tainted all of that: the emails between Meg and Evan, the explicit photos, the hotel receipts, and the DNA test results. It felt like a box full of memories and lies, all packaged together. I wanted them to feel as shocked as I did when I discovered the truth. Evan's birthday dinner was being celebrated with everyone gathered, not knowing what would happen next until I handed over the memory box in front of everyone. I turned around and walked away. I didn't stay to see his face. I didn't need to. I knew what was in that box would change everything for them. The truth would finally come to light and destroy everything they had built. That night, Rachel called me crying, so I can say she didn't know. She told me she and Evan had opened the box together and seen everything. The next morning, she packed her bags and left with her children to her sister's house. But my own family's reaction was completely different. My parents and siblings weren't on my side. They thought I should have kept everything between us, that I shouldn't have done what I did, especially with children involved. They told me I was being selfish, focusing too much on my own pain instead of protecting the children who were innocent in all of this. They said I should have considered how it would affect them, but I felt they didn't understand. Evan and Meg made choices that affected all of us, and the truth needed to come out. I understand where they're coming from. No one wants to see children hurt. But at the same time, I couldn't continue living a lie. My entire life had been built on a false reality, and I needed the truth to surface. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. But a part of me felt some relief knowing the lies had finally been revealed. Meg didn't take it well, to put it mildly. She moved in with her parents and hasn't stopped bombarding me with text messages and voice messages since then. She begs me for forgiveness and to find a way to forgive her, telling me she's sorry and trying to convince me it was all a mistake. But how can you call 17 years of lies a mistake? This isn't a mistake. It's betrayal and deliberately hurting another person. In all that time, she never thought all this would hurt me. There's no forgiveness of any kind. Then there's Evan. He hasn't said a single word. He hasn't called or sent a message or even tried to communicate. It's like he's completely disappeared. Maybe he's too ashamed to face me, or maybe he just doesn't care anymore. Either way, it hurts. He was my best friend, my brother, and now he's just gone. Our friends are divided. Some understand why I did what I did and tell me that exposing the truth was the only way to free myself from all the lies. They say I had to let the truth come to light, regardless of the consequences. But then there are those who believe I went too far. They believe I shouldn't have made it so public that the children didn't deserve to be hurt by all this. And I can't argue with that. It's not like I wanted to hurt innocent people, especially the children. I just felt that the weight of all these lies was crushing me, and the only way to fix it was to tell the truth, even if that meant tearing everything apart. But it's hard to say if there was a better way to do it. The betrayal was so big, so overwhelming, that it affects you mentally. Besides, it's not like this news could be dealt with privately without coming to light. The children were going to get hurt anyway, but because of just 2 people. The hardest part of all this is dealing with the children. They're innocent in all of this, and that kills me. I was the one who raised them, who loved them, who thought they were mine. Every time I look at them, all I can think about is the moment I discovered all the evidence. I don't know how to look at them without that weight being on me. They don't deserve any of this. They're just kids, caught in the middle of a mess that isn't their fault, but that of irresponsible adults. I've been avoiding their calls and messages because I don't know what to say to them. They know I'm going to move out, but they don't know why. How do you explain something like this to children without completely breaking their hearts? How do you tell them that everything they thought they knew is a lie? I'm lost. The last thing I want to do is hurt them more, but I don't know how to make sense of all this myself, much less explain it to them. It's like when they tell you on an airplane to put your own mask on first before helping others. Well, here, I don't even know how to put on my own mask because there's no flight attendant showing you how. Now I'm sitting in an empty apartment, alone. My family barely speaks to me anymore. I don't know where to go from here. I've lost my wife, my best friend, and the life I thought I had. My parents think I made everything worse by exposing it all publicly, and a part of me wonders if they're right. Did I go too far? Could I have done this differently? Or was this the only way to get some justice, to hold on to a bit of dignity after everything that's happened? The most brutal truth is all I want to receive now, even if it hurts. Update 1. The last few days have been the worst of my life. I can't do anything or stop thinking about all this. I try to go back to my routine, my life, but it's difficult with everything that's happened. The first thing I did was meet with a divorce lawyer. I didn't know there was so much to do in a divorce, but he was clear and helped me understand the legal steps I need to take. Part of that was conducting DNA tests for both children. Although I already knew the truth, when the results came back and confirmed that neither of them is biologically mine, it hit me harder. I don't know, maybe I was hoping the other results had been an error. I know, I was clinging to anything that would give me hope. So now all of this has been officially proven by me. Yesterday, Meg's parents showed up at my door. That conversation was difficult, to say the least. They begged and pleaded for me to reconsider the divorce. They said I should think about the children, how difficult it would be for them. They even offered to pay for couples therapy, as if a few sessions could fix almost 20 years of lies. I tried to stay calm and listen to them, but it was complicated. I told them the marriage was over, and nothing could change that. It was a decision already made. I understand they're worried about Meg and want to fix things, but they haven't gone through something like this. It's hard to put into words a pain as deep as this. It's too big. This morning I received a call from Rachel. She told me she's already filed for divorce from Evan and is asking for full custody of their children. She thanked me for bringing the truth to light. But even though she was moving forward, she was also very hurt. She's struggling. She admitted that she can't even look at her children without thinking about what Evan did to her. I told her I completely understand. For me, it's the same. Every time I look at the children I thought were mine, whom I raised and cared for, I feel like I'm being punched in the stomach. It's like I'm living in a fog, just trying to get through one day at a time right now. Now my children are with me. They're angry, confused, and honestly, I can't blame them for how they feel. My 15-year-old son has completely cut off communication with Meg. He's refused to talk to her since everything came to light. She's been sending him messages, but he's blocked her. I think that's his way of dealing with this. He's angry, he's hurt, and I don't know how to help him get through it. My 11-year-old son, however, is more conflicted. He's too young to have a real understanding of what's happening, and I can tell he misses his mother. He's caught in the middle, and I see it. He wants things to go back to the way they were, but he doesn't understand why everything has changed. I've arranged therapy sessions for both of them starting next week because, although I'm struggling with all this, their emotional well-being has to come first. They didn't ask for this. They didn't deserve to be dragged into this mess. But here they are, trying to make sense of a world that's completely upside down. It breaks my heart to see them go through this, knowing there's nothing I can do to take away their pain. I've been leaning heavily on a couple of close friends these days. They've been my support system, the people I can talk to in real life. One of them came over last night and stayed until midnight just to listen to me. He reminded me that everything I think and how I feel is valid. It's easy to forget that when everyone else seems to have their own opinions about what I should or shouldn't have done. But my friends have supported me completely and haven't tried to tell me what I should have done. Meg hasn't stopped trying to communicate. She's been calling, texting, even showing up at my house uninvited. Each time it's the same thing. Apologies, promises that she'll do whatever it takes to fix things. She insists we can save the marriage, which seems ridiculous to me. It's easy for her to say because she hasn't been hurt like I have. The one who has to make an effort to forgive her and forget all this is me. She has only acted wrongly and expects me to sacrifice. No, I'm not going to do it. I can't even imagine looking at her without hating her with all my strength. Evan, on the other hand, still maintains his silence, and that's what hurts the most. After everything, the least he could have done is face me. But he hasn't said a word. It feels like the ultimate insult. It's like he's taking the easy way out, leaving Rachel and their children to deal with all the mess he caused. I keep wondering if he ever really cared about our friendship, or if I was just someone who served to cover up his affair. My parents are furious with how I handled the situation. They still continue with their idea that I traumatized the children by exposing everything so publicly. My therapist, whom I started talking to a few days ago, tells me it's normal to feel this way. He's been helping me work through all the layers of betrayal and find a way to move forward, but it will take time. It's not something you achieve in just one day or week. This week has been a whirlwind of meetings, phone calls, and emotions that I feel like are drowning me. Now all I can do is try to rebuild my life for myself and for the children who are caught in the middle of all this chaos. How? I don't know. But at least I have a goal. Update 2. Finally, Evan got in touch, but it wasn't at all what I expected. He didn't call me, he didn't text me, he didn't even bother to email me. Instead, his lawyer contacted me with a message. Evan wasn't going to fight Rachel's divorce or her custody request. Additionally, the lawyer presented an offer for a huge financial settlement, claiming it was Evan's way of making things right. I immediately told the lawyer I had no interest in the settlement, and if Evan thought this would make up for everything, he was very wrong. I was willing to go to court if necessary, so he would face the consequences. On the other hand, Meg decided to handle things in a completely different way. She posted a long message on Facebook, finally admitting the affair. In the post, she tried to paint a picture of herself and Evan as destined lovers who couldn't help falling in love but stayed in their marriages for the sake of the children. She said the affair was never meant to hurt anyone, that it was just a mistake they both made. Her post went viral, especially among our circle of friends and family, though some strangers have also participated. Of course, she didn't get what she thought she would: sympathy. Most of the comments attacked her for the choices she made, instead of asking for forgiveness for what she had done. A few mutual friends tried to defend her, but they received the same treatment. She's not the victim here. She played a huge role in the destruction of so many lives, and now she was trying to rewrite the narrative to make herself look innocent. It was like a slap in the face again. On a positive note, my siblings have started to change their stance. My sister, who was upset with me for how I exposed the affair, came to my house yesterday to apologize. She told me her initial reaction was emotional and that she hadn't fully understood how deep the betrayal was. She even offered to help me pack up Meg's things, which took a great weight off my shoulders. It feels good to have some support, especially when much of my family is still upset with how I handled everything. Rachel and I have been talking more lately. Despite everything, she thanked me again for bringing the truth to light. She said she would rather face reality now than continue living a lie for another 17 years. At home, things are still very complicated. My children still live with me, but the atmosphere is tense. My therapist keeps reminding me that the blame lies with Meg and Evan, not with me, but even hearing it doesn't make it easier. It's still a bitter pill to swallow. As for me, I've been trying to focus on practical things. My divorce lawyer is helping me with all the paperwork, and we're preparing for what looks like it's going to be a tough legal battle. Evan's financial offer is still on the table, but I'm not going to let him buy his way out to avoid facing the consequences. This is something he has to answer for, and I'm not going to let him avoid it. On another note, something unexpected happened last night. A mutual friend contacted me with some news about Evan. Apparently, he's been staying at a motel on the other side of town and keeping a very low profile. The friend said Evan's family is furious with him, quite different from what has happened with my family, which practically supports infidelity. A part of me felt a small satisfaction hearing that, but it's not enough to make me feel better. Honestly, it doesn't matter what's happening now. There's no amount of suffering that makes things equal. Update 3. I've been so overwhelmed with everything that's been happening in my life lately that I almost forgot to thank all of you for the support you've given me here. You can't imagine how much some of the things you said mean to me, including the insults to Evan and Meg that have made me feel better for a while. The therapy sessions with my children have been complicated, but they've started to bear fruit, drop by drop. My 15-year-old son, who has been the most resistant to talking about all this, finally started to open up a bit in our last session. He told me he feels lost and angry, like his life no longer makes sense. I told him I feel the same way, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like we really connected. It was a small moment, but it gave me hope. However, it was my 11-year-old son who really broke me during one of our sessions. He asked me if he should still call me Dad. It completely caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to be thrown off balance with a question like that. I managed to tell him, through tears, that being a father isn't about DNA. It's about love, care, and all the memories we've created together. I told him he will always be my boy, no matter what. He ran into my arms and hugged me, and for the first time since all this began, I felt that maybe, just maybe, we could be okay. Rachel and I have ended up being an unexpected mutual support system. It's strange how going through something so painful together can bring two people closer, even in a situation like this. We've both started individual therapy and have had very honest conversations about what comes next. Despite everything that's happened, we've decided to maintain a relationship so our children can remain close as siblings. Now more than ever, they'll need each other. Today, Evan's mother showed up without warning. She's a person I've always admired and loved, which is why I let her in, because of all the history we share. She handed me a box with every photo, gift, and memento I had given their family over the years. She said she could no longer keep them, knowing what her son had done. Before leaving, she told me that Evan had accepted a job in California and plans to move next month. She didn't say much else, except that Evan has lost more than he will ever understand. Her tone was sad, almost as if she was apologizing, but she didn't defend his actions. I'm not sure how to feel about Evan's departure. Part of me feels relieved that he'll be far away, but another part thinks he's simply running away from everything he's done. It doesn't seem like facing the mess he created is on his list of priorities, which honestly doesn't surprise me anymore. Meg, on the other hand, just doesn't seem to get it. She keeps insisting on a reconciliation, but every time she does, it only makes me angrier. Her latest move was to send me a 30-page handwritten letter. Yes, 30. In it, she tried to explain the affair, giving me all her reasons for staying with me despite being in love with Evan. I only read a few pages and then left it aside. I don't know if it could be useful. I've asked my lawyer to make sure all future communication goes through legal channels. I'm tired of her trying to manipulate the situation to make herself look better. I've started writing a journal parallel to this, as suggested by my therapist, who said that Reddit wasn't the same, and it's helping me work through some of the anger and sadness I've been feeling. My children are now my main priority. No matter what the DNA results say, they didn't ask for any of this, and they need stability and love while we figure out what comes next. I don't think I'll ever forgive these two people who were close to me, who betrayed me like this, but I don't think that's necessary to move on from this either. Maybe someday I'll find the answers or get the closure I need, although right now, it's not high on my list of priorities. Update 4. Some people think not accepting Evan's offer was a big mistake because that could have given me closure, but the truth is that offer was an insult. I must have loaned him more money when he bought one of his cars than what he offered. We're talking about $7,000, which is nothing for everything that's happened. But this update has a lot to tell if you want to know how my story has ended, or at least how the legal part of the matter has ended. The divorce with Meg is a thing of the past. I've kept the house because that's where my children will spend most of their time since I've gotten majority custody. During the week, they'll be here while they attend school, and Meg will get weekends and a few weeks during vacations. The reason Meg agreed to sign majority custody in my favor is because she hoped that would fix things between us. I'm glad she thought that, although I never gave her false hope that it would happen. She simply believed that gesture would help smooth things over between us. No, it hasn't. My younger son said he wants to spend those days with his mother, so I don't blame him, while the older one has said he wants to stay here on weekends. Rachel has also reached a divorce agreement similar to mine, with the difference that almost none of her children want to see their father, and with the distance now, it will also be quite difficult for them to do so. In part, I think Evan has wanted to escape his responsibility as a father, because he hasn't wanted to have anything to do with the lives of his other two children either. My children don't want to know anything about him anyway. As for Evan's offer to compensate me for all this, we're not only looking to sue him for more money, enough to cover the expenses of my children all these years, but also for him to give up any paternal rights he has over them. The figure is several times what he has offered, and we have some confidence that we can reach an out-of-court settlement to save ourselves all the legal processes. So far, Evan has shown himself willing to negotiate, or rather, his lawyer has, so I hope to have news soon. So that's it, and I think it's a good closure with the legal processes coming to an end. There's still one pending, but I hope I don't have to come back in a few years to tell you its outcome because it's complicated. Edit. We've reached a settlement with Evan's lawyer, who accepted the offer on his behalf. It's not as much as we were aiming for, but it's much more than what I would have gotten in a trial, considering the expenses. He has also given up his parental rights.